The Realm of the Mist show that you are currently tuned into will begin in about 5 minutes. Until then, enjoy this wonderful tune.
Why does a good man have to die? Another piece of shit to be born. Reasons unheard of tearing my flesh. My heart is ripped, my soul is torn.
You are listening to Realm of the Mist podcast with your host, Chris Stovall, presented by Realm of the Mist Entertainment.
People are dying. They are dying. And the response across the other side of the aisle is to introduce an amendment 5 minutes before a hearing in a...
This is a picture of Aquaman, a superhero from the undersea kingdom of Atlantis, and notably here, a founding member of the Super Friends.
Such a loop circle.
Hey guys, welcome to Realm of the Mist podcast. This is a special one. I am Chris, and with me as always is Venus.
Hey.
But returning to Realm, actually her first time on Realm of the Mist podcast, but she is returning to Realm of the Mist Entertainment, former talent and panelist for Breaking the Fourth Wall, which is what this podcast used to be. Ladies and gentlemen, author Christen Stovall returning. Kristen!
Hi, everybody!
That's right. The estrogen is flowing, and I am hiding in a corner crying.
You're just a lucky, lucky man.
This is
Right?
Not, this is not the
A
threesome
Venus
I
and
had in
Christen
mind.
sandwich.
Definitely not
Wrong
the threesome.
time to take a drink.
Definitely the threesome I did not have in mind. Look, we're gonna be getting into some topics. We have some real topics we're gonna discuss tonight. Happy April Fools to everybody. Just to let you know, I won $10 million, so this will be the final podcast. Screw you guys. I've got money now. April Fools.
Now.
April Fools. Thank you, Ed McMahon. But we got a couple things to talk about, but I know I don't have the right panel for most of this, so we're gonna try to stay on topic. It'll be short and sweet, and then we're gonna yak for a little bit. It's gonna be one of them episodes, so bear with. Let's go ahead and get through it. Let's get the politics out of the way first. And actually, you just saw the video in the intro or heard the audio of the video, and if you're listening to us on Anchor or Spotify or iTunes, name drop, sponsor. Obviously, we got to pick on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Everybody else has been doing it. Let's do it too.
We're always picking on her. She's like the best. I can never fully state how much I love this woman and adore her because I'm always sitting here just laughing my ass off about everything she has to say.
Look, I won't sugarcoat this. News and entertainment has been extremely low as of late. Nothing that I really wanted to bring forefront to the table. This podcast wouldn't exist if it wasn't for AOC. Let's be real.
Absolutely.
Well, after the failing of
she's our favorite topic.
She really is. Well, after her failing of the Green New Deal, which got voted out in Congress, 57 votes no, 0 votes yes. She, in turn, decided to turn around and attack the GOP and Republican Party, claiming that the amendments they pushed in the Constitution is why FDR was kicked out of office and unable to be reelected into another term.
Okay, who's FDR?
Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a former president, Democratic president.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that. They started it. The year after he was out of presidency, and they were signing it the year after that, and then 3 years after it got passed or something. Mm-hmm. 50 years ago.
The fact of the matter is that it was made to limit the terms of the president. You can only serve 2 terms.
Right,
two
for a
4-year
very good
terms.
reason.
For a very good reason, so nobody becomes a totalitarian dictator.
So nobody becomes Palpatine. That's why.
Exactly, So, but in her mind, this is why FDR, who arguably was probably one of the worst presidents in the nation's history, modern history, his push of social agendas and everything else really started spiraling the country in the wrong direction. Personal opinion, attack me if you wish. But
can I use a lightsaber if I attack you?
Sure, I've got one to return.
Nice.
Light up the bomb.
Mine's pink though.
But the fact of the matter is her own brain. How did this woman become a congressman? Her former job was a bartender, and you could pretty much tell it with the way she handles herself. I mean, the attacks on people because she didn't get her way in the Green New Deal, and then spewing out stuff like this. I mean, ladies, am I wrong here, or is she if she was bleach blonde, she would be the epitome of a blonde joke.
And you know what? She's not. Okay, I'm blonde, and I get to sit here and laugh. There's no more blonde jokes anymore. It's all AOC jokes. And blondes get them, and that's the funniest part.
I look at all of them, and I'm like, how did we get here? All of them.
It really is. But when you look at a world of people like Joe Biden touching little girls and being creepy Uncle Joe, and you look at 2 years of wasted taxpayer money on collusions that don't exist, or people throwing fits because a person became president that they didn't like, guess what? That's happened throughout the history of the United States, and we've dealt with it up until this point. I agree with Christen on that statement. How did we get here? And while we're here, how did AOC become the cherry on this shit sundae?
Okay, let's just jump to conclusions here.
Absolutely.
I really would like there to be a show called Let's Just Jump to Conclusions.
You come back full time, I'll give you that show.
She used to be a bartender. She used to give lap dances to men. And she somehow got into this political career. Well, let's just jump to conclusions here and assume that she was sucking the right dick to get there, okay?
To be honest, that's probably the only explanation. I mean, I know she got elected in a borough or whatever like that did the voting of like 15,000 people. So like it was relatively easy for her to get elected in, and it was probably because she's semi-attractive of a person physically more than anything else. But how the fuck is this person in a position of power?
Well, look at a lot of politicians. Like, they've all used pussy as power to get there. Like, you can't even deny that. There was one that just came out. This woman, like, totally walked all over this one dude who's like, pretty much, fuck me and I'll get you here. And she did. And then she like scrapped him, turned her back on him and everything. Let's just jump to conclusions. That is not out of the question that's what happened.
Well, you would Venus, you would appreciate this. I mean, she's gone on record on Twitter and claimed that the reason the Green New Deal didn't pass and why people are calling her stupid or dumb or whatever else is because we males, she blamed guys, of course, we males are threatened by her superiority as a woman. We're threatened by her position of power as a woman. These are her tweets, guys. You can look them up. Go to her her Twitter, and you can see her own tweet.
Right there, though. That explains so much about our current political situation. We have politicians on Twitter. Can we please acknowledge that? They all go on there like little grade schoolers, like, I'm going to throw this verbal rock at you.
No, you are
so stupid.
You are absolutely right, and I've made it no secret on this podcast or on my Facebook feed or Twitter feed. I support Donald Trump. I don't always agree with him, but I support him. I support the same way I supported Obama when he was president, even though I couldn't stand Obama. I still supported my president. That being said, one of the first things I've ever stated about Donald J. Trump is somebody please take his goddamn Twitter account away.
Yes. I mean, I don't personally like him. I don't hate anybody. That's just like a personal rule. I don't like him. Never have. Had nothing to do with him running for president. I just don't like the man. But, like, dude, take his Twitter away. Revoke the Twitter privileges. Just please. Or, like, all these other celebrities have people who run their social media. Just hire one of those.
Right?
God. He's got the money.
But the thing with AOC that really scares me is, like, yeah, we've been making jokes about how funny she is with her level of stupidity, which is mind-boggling, staggeringly bad. But the thing is like, I probably would find it funnier if I wasn't scared out of my mind at the fact that somebody of this level of intelligence is in a position of power to dictate rules and all in our lives. And I mean, is this a trend coming?
Well, lots of Democrats don't even like her personally themselves. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty, like, what was I reading? That most of them don't even care if her whole section, whatever, gets shut down because they can't stand her. So, it's honestly, her colleagues are having issues with her. So, she's not going to last long. If Hillary doesn't like you, what do you think's going to happen?
If you make Nancy Pelosi start chewing on her own inner lip like every time Trump does a State of the Union address, you got an issue.
Right? Oh, yeah. Speaking of Obama, okay, so when you were talking about him, I totally remember seeing this video of one of Obama's videos, and what was he saying? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Over and over and over and over, and like played backwards is like, thank you, Satan. Thank you, Satan. So when you were saying that, that's all I was thinking going through my head was, thank you, Satan. In Obama's voice.
Well, that's it. I mean, like, again, and I'll state it straight out. I'm not one of those Trump supporters that are like, Trump all the way, or whatever else. He was always my choice. He was never my choice. My choice for president didn't make it to the final election. Ted Cruz. He was who I was going to vote for. But unfortunately, I was left with the choice of Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. Well, gee. Do I want the
Obvious
polished
choice.
turd or the not polished turd?
I might be a third-party voter, so.
So that was the choice I was given. I went with the choice that I know was the correct one. Between the two.
Hillary's just bad choice.
That's it.
Nothing wrong with a woman president, just not one who eats babies.
Look, I will happily vote for a woman when a woman is a qualified woman with some sort of moral fiber is up for the presidency. I don't care if she's black,
good
white.
luck with that. Once they get to that point in politics, they've lost their moral fibers.
True,
so
but
good luck with that one.
But breaking that glass ceiling of getting our first woman president, as long as it's not Hillary fucking Clinton or Michelle Obama, I'm fine.
Oh my
or
God.
AOC.
No Oprah either. Oprah either.
Or AOC, God forbid.
I just feel like the TV personality presidents thing needs to stop for a while. Like, it's because now it just turns it into like this big reality TV show. That's what I feel like American politics are anymore. They're reality TV. So let's just leave the TV people and the public eye people, let's just leave them out and maybe get away from the reality TV presidencies.
Well, you're not wrong. When do we come into a world like it? I'll say it straight out. It's very important to know what's going on in your country. You should know your politicians. You should know your congressman. You should know your president. These things are very important. This is knowledge.
But you shouldn't know them from Jersey Shore.
That's what I was going to say. But when did we start making politicians celebrities? Again, this podcast probably wouldn't exist because there's not enough entertainment news. But for some reason, the political realm right now is entertainment. It's road rules. It's an episode of MTV's, 16 and Pregnant. About as intelligent.
How apt that is.
Giving respect where it's due, though, Donald Trump started off as a celebrity. And since his presidency, I mean, like, he's really gone under, like, the radar. I mean, like, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. I mean, when you see him on TV, it's because he's standing at a political booth.
The rest of the time, he's on Twitter.
True.
Yeah. True. But, I mean, look at all these other fucking idiots that are on Twitter and, like, attacking him personally and other shit. I mean, some of the stuff he says is so ridiculous. It's like you've almost hit the AOC low level. But you know what? I still love it.
I mean, I kind of feel like they balance each other.
Well, the thing about
Right?
the thing about Donald Trump, and again, I don't always agree with every one of his policies that he has. However, I did agree with enough of them to vote for him. And again, because of the fact that I really didn't want Hillary involved. But he's going to go down as the most hated president in American history who actually kept his promises. He's completed in 2 years majority of his campaign promises. Name one president that ever completed one.
Okay, well, just to like balance that out, though, do you even know how many countries want Donald Trump as their president? Like, half of Canada is like, Trump, just take us. Please take us now and save us from this fucking retard Trudeau. Like, somebody help us.
Well, wait,
I don't know why
like-
I pictured it like a spaceship, and they're like, pick us up!
Now that's interesting. If America were to annex Canada or to bring them into the fold, would all the country of Canada be a 51st state, or would we separate the provinces into states? Like Ottawa would be a state and Quebec would be a state, or how would that break down? Well, you know what I mean.
Alberta should be
I've
its
never
own state.
considered that.
You know, like the provinces should be their own states. They'd be like huge states with lots of land mass that pretty much no one lives on because everyone lives like within 100 kilometers of the border. So
the rest of it's like tundra level, isn't it?
I'm like, okay, listen, please, Trump, if you're listening, please, God, hope Trump is listening. There's lots of land here. There's lots of stuff to do on it. There's lots of forestry. There's lots of like job opportunities. Somebody, please help us.
But that would be interesting. Would Canada just become a complete giant state, or would it be separated out? You know, because if it gets separated out, I'm totally moving to Regina, because Regina rides with fun.
That's Saskatchewan. That's a province.
I know, but I'm moving to
Mega
just a
state.
city.
I vote mega state. I want it to just be the mega state. Mega
You know what, though?
state.
Like in Canada, like the provinces are so different from each other. Like even like the southern part of a province and the northern part of a province, or like the central part of a province, they're all so different. It's like if you go from Toronto all the way up to like say Cochrane, Ontario, which is like literally from the south all the way to the north, you're honestly going through different like. It's all different. Like you start off in Toronto, there's like this whole diversity and stuff. It smells like curry everywhere. You get up to Sudbury, Ontario,
Sounds
you're
delicious.
I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Wow.
And I'm like, curry.
Actually, oh my God, shawarma's there. Oh my God, yes. But then you get to Sudbury and it's like redneck minor town, and then you get up to like Cochrane. And it's like French, predominantly French. And you've like literally gone through like time warps of different cultures and places just in one province. Yeah, you definitely need to separate them, because that's just going to cause huge issues to be like, oh, I'm from the mega province. And everyone's like, well, what does that mean about your identity? And we're all going to have identity crises. I'm getting anxiety thinking about it.
Aren't we already going through identity crises in the world?
Right, there's enough of them. Don't do this shit to us. We want to keep her like provincial identity.
My personal goal is to become the grand empress of everything. So like, then I will just put all the politicians on an island with a volcano and leave them there, and be like now whether or not y'all throw your guys selves into the volcano is on you, but you're on annoying island. This is where the volcano is, and you guys get to decide whether or not you go in it.
You are the weakest link.
All I want is world domination of one major country. Is that too much to ask?
Just one. You know, just give me my own private island with some like ox or some bison or something, and you know, some wild swine, because it'll be fun when I'm like out at night and it's like, oh my God, there's somebody in the bushes. No, it's a fucking swine. It's a wild hog. Like it would make things so much more interesting. They're scary. Like they attack people. Like you don't even know. Like yeah, those things. I'm tired too. Okay.
Well, why don't we move on then, so that way we can get into the chatty chat. I'll go to the happy one first, because this one it doesn't require too much talk, but we just got to talk about it. And I know Christen will talk about it. Mark Hamill has been rumored to play the voice of Chucky in Child's Play for the past couple weeks. It's been popping around on a bunch of different websites and everything else, and was finally confirmed by Mark Hamill himself in a video for one of the Comic-Cons that have been going on around the country right now, where he is officially now the voice of the Child's Play reboot, Chucky. Guys, Luke Skywalker taking on another iconic role. How do we feel about this?
I feel like the smile at the end of that video is one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, just the way he delivered that. He's not just a toy. He's your best friend.
Oh, and the thing is, dolls are freaking terrifying already. Like, they scare me. I'm like, that is not right. That thing has glassy eyes. I don't want it. Get it away. Puppets are also terrifying, just for the record.
I mean, you just think about Mark Hamill and like some of the things he's most known for. Of course, first and foremost, top of the list. I know I'll get an argument from comic book fans, but top of the list is 100% without a doubt Luke Skywalker. But, you know, and the Star Wars saga, it pretty much launched his career. He was a soap opera actor and commercial actor before then. But then he had a second life outside of Star Wars with voice acting, and one of the most iconic voice acting he's done was the Joker in the 90s Batman animated series, and then subsequently later the video games and everything else. So the guy's already known to play two iconic roles, Luke Skywalker and the Joker. And that's not even counting how many other voice acting jobs and special guest appearances on things like The Flash as the Trickster, and all. And now he's taken on Chucky, which I guess you could argue, as far as like the horror movie slashers of the 80s, is like one of the top 5.
It's pretty iconic. Like, I don't watch horror movies, and I know what it is, and I know what it's about, and I know it looks freaking terrifying because a doll comes to life and does exactly what I think dolls are likely to do.
Oh my god, at least not a porcelain doll. Okay, I'll draw the lines there.
So you'll never watch the Annabelle movies.
Yeah, I have, but I'm not having a porcelain doll in my house. Like, oh my god, I swear I had a demonic, haunted, possessed porcelain doll as a child, and a walking doll too. And like my parents used to just buy them for me all the time, and they used to always be in like weird places. My parents were super religious, which I think really brings out the demons in things. And and you have no idea how many like doll faces that have been smashed, burned. We've torn dolls to shreds, like me and my sisters. Like my
She's
sister's
afraid they're
terrified
going
of
to
them.
come back to get the revenge. Remember what you did to our sweet sister?
God. What if Chucky was related to one of those?
Yeah. They're all demons, okay? Like they all got demons with that soul, so guaranteed is related to them.
Yeah, no, dolls are terrifying.
Well, here's the
Fuck
deal.
yeah.
I assume I know Christen is not a huge horror movie fan. Venus, I don't really know if you're into horror that much or not. But here's the question: knowing that Mark Hamill is voicing Chucky in the reboot, does that make you more or less likely to want to go see the movie? Because I mean, it's Mark Hamill.
Okay, but we like Mark Hamill.
That's my point.
Probably less, because I know how scary he can make his voice sound, and I'm a wimp.
I'm definitely interested. Like, I haven't seen like a good horror movie that honestly left me like for like years and years, not since The Fourth Kind. I'm excited as all fuck.
Wait, and this is going to lead us into the main cusp of the show here. So it didn't do it for you?
No.
Wow.
I did it for my son. My son was terrified. But he was only 7. I actually have a YouTube video of that of him watching it at like right at the beginning, where he's like, "Oh, hey, come in the sewer or whatever," and he's like, honestly, and the pop, 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 and he just starts crying and ran away. And my daughter turned around and she gave me this like dirty fucking look, like, "Why would you do that to us?"
I feel
They really wanted to watch it though, so I was like, okay, well, you know what? We'll see how far you guys get into it. So we had the popcorn ready and everything, and yeah, they were so fucking pissed off. They're like, "I'm never watching another horror movie again. Not happening." And I'm like,
You're laughing until they're in your bed that night, right?
No, we had like no dolls. Like the scariest toy we ever had was a Furby, and my son called him
Furbies are
Turkey.
terrifying.
They are, right? And anyways, like,
Oh, it's
like my son
terrifying.
was,
Go look up the video of a Furby without its skin on, like the actual robot underneath the fur. You want to talk about things of nightmares? Look at it without the fur covering. Seriously, go on YouTube right now and go look that up.
I've seen it. I don't want to look again.
Yeah, so we had to like do like terrible things to this Furby. Like, like first, like I was dating this guy. I thought it would be funny to like hang the Furby from a ceiling fan and like turn it on and be like, "Oh, hey Milo, come look at this." So he was terrified of it. So we had to swirly this Furby. We burnt it. We had those aerosol like fire fucking flamethrower things. We burnt it. We cut it up. We smashed it. We covered it in toothpaste and shaving gel and tossed it out the window. Like,
and all I hear through all of this,
Did it just keep appearing in the house?
No, like it wasn't even like he was being a little dink, and like he was having like behavior issues at the time when he was like, it was summertime and kids get bored easily. And so anyways, he was being a little dink, and I'm like, okay, well, like, what do I do? Like, I'm getting frustrated yelling at him. I'm getting frustrated doing this. I'm getting frustrated doing that. I'm like, oh, but he's scared of the fur. Hey! That's what we'll do. And it was like a punishment that was like more fun than anything. And then we got to like kill it together and sacrifice it and stuff. So it kind of really paid off because like he smartened up and like our bond got closer because we had to kill this demon.
I just really wish there was a Supernatural episode that was all them like taking out a Furby. That'd be amazing.
You know what? They're not finished their final season. You might get it. But during Venus's conversation about the Furby, about how they were smashing it and setting it on fire, all I had in my head was like this engulfed in flames Furby that like eyes open up, looked at Venus, and it's still all you hear in a small voice is, "I love you."
No, he used to do that. How can it'll do? I'm like, we stuck him in the freezer and everything. Like, we tried to freeze him. Like, this thing didn't die. Like, if you want to kill a Furby, like, good luck. Sorry, Chris, but those things don't die.
Furby's the real Chucky.
Watch Chucky. Oh,
right?
God. Imagine Mark Hamill when he comes to life as the Chucky doll in the movie will be leaving the toy store and see a fucking Furby.
Next thing we hear, it'll be Mark Hamill's gonna start voicing Furbies.
You know what I'm most excited about though with him playing Chucky? I think this will be the first time, maybe I'm wrong, but this will be the first time I think I'll ever hear Mark Hamill curse. Because Chucky was foul-mouthed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now we're all interested. Like, what? What the fuck is going on here?
Now I'm just sitting here going, have I ever heard him curse?
That's it, because like most of the characters, most of everything that I could think of that he's ever played has always been either for kids or just on that cusp, like Luke Skywalker with PG and PG-13. He's never really done an R-rated thing, to my knowledge, where he's going to be sitting there dropping F-bombs. I wonder what it's got. I am curious what it's going to sound like to hear Mark Hamill say the word "fuck."
I think it'll sound like Mark Hamill saying "fuck."
We'll have a drinking game, and every time he says it, we'll drink to that.
No, I'm sorry. It's probably going to ruin my childhood. I'll never look at Star Wars the same way again.
I'm sneaking in a Mickey to the theater, and I'm good to go.
I will be watching episode 4, and he'll be giving that whiny dialogue about the going to Toshi's station to pick up some power converters, and I'll just hear it in Chucky's voice. I'm going to Toshi's station to pick up some fucking converters. It'll ruin me.
Well, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, so.
There you go.
Apparently, that's true of Furbies anyway.
I really can't believe it didn't do it for you. Like, I love the original miniseries It with Tim Curry as Pennywise. But, I mean, like, I finally sat down to watch It Chapter 1, the reboot. And first off, and Christen, I don't know if you read the book, but you can pretty much attest to this. The It book, the novel, is disturbing as shit in its own right.
Okay. I read the first part of the book It when I was working at a daycare, sitting in the napping room, surrounded by napping toddlers, and I was sitting here reading this thing, and I'm like, why is this in this building? Because it was just in the building. I was like, well, here's a book. I'm going to read it. What the fuck? Get it away. I left the nap room very quickly and put it back and just kind of went back to the rocking chair and sat there like, I don't know what just happened to me. I don't know what just happened to me.
But when I sat
some
down,
creepy disturbance happened.
but when I
just rock and feel better.
when I sat down to watch the movie, and they did the scene of like Venus was saying with her son, with her child, excuse me, who the sewer grate, and they all float down here, Joey. And I remember, again, this is my first time sitting down and watching the movie. I didn't go to see it in theaters, which I really regret after finally seeing the movie. But, the part where Georgie reaches in, and in the original miniseries, Pennywise grabs his arm, and, his mouth opens up, but then they cut, because it's made for TV, obviously. When Pennywise grips him in the movie and bites his fucking arm off. I sat there like, oh shit, I know where this movie's gonna go now.
I was kind of expecting that. Like, horror movies, like, recently, like, I went, like, 4 years or so after watching The Fourth Kind without any horror movies. And then I ended up dealing with a bunch of, like, my own paranormal experiences. And after that happens, after you're, like mentally destroyed from, like, a movie and then, like, weird shit happens to you.
Well, see, that's what's leading into what we were trying to discuss was with Mark Hamill being announced as the new voice of Chucky for a reboot of Child's Play, with the success, the great success of It, and of course It Chapter 2 coming out later this year, which is going to deal with the second part of the book of the kids as adults and facing Pennywise again. Spoilers for those who don't know. And, of course, this coming week, we have the reboot of Pet Sematary, which looks phenomenal. You know, it made me wonder, like...
Pet Sematary, oh my god.
Oh, yeah, the original one's creepy as shit, but this reboot looks ungodly.
I made it, like, as a child. I was, like, probably 4. When did it come out? 1994?
Oh, later than that.
Or so? Okay, anyways, I was, like, super young. Like, I was born in 1990. So when this movie finally came out and it got to that doll part of the fucking flying doll, I was done. I was not watching anything after that.
I tried to watch it as an adult and got like I have a big thing with when stuff happens to kids and like I can't handle it, which is funny because I'm not really a kid person. But when stuff happens to kids in a horror movie, I'm like, nope. Bye. Nope. Walking out. Cannot do this now. So I did not get very far.
Well, with the success of like I said, of It and now the announcement of Pet Sematary, It Chapter 2, Child's Play, it made me wonder with these rebooted horror movies, and we've had some stinker reboots too. We've had, Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th had reboots, and both of them were mediocre at best. And now we're getting reboots that seem to be better than the original. Like, again, I love the original miniseries of It, but this movie, the rebooted movie, head and shoulders above the original. In every aspect, a lot closer to the book, creepy as hell. I never thought anybody could replace Tim Curry as Pennywise the Clown and what's his name, Bill Skarsgård. He nails that role. Like, I would punch him in the face if I met him in real life out of the clown makeup. That's how good he did that role. So it made me wonder, like, what other horror movie reboots hit better than the originals did? And even more so, what should be made that maybe from our past that maybe wasn't all that good, maybe kind of B-rate or low budget or just didn't hold up to the test of time that should be remade now?
Or even just even if it was really good, what might be able to be better now. Like, right. I actually do like The Shining, but they could probably do some amazing stuff with that story now.
Anything to replace Margot Kidder. Like, I love the movie, and you cannot replace Jack Nicholson in that movie, but her acting was a little in that movie. But it's a good point. Like, Stephen King movies especially, like, when I thought of this, I automatically was like, well, let's see, Thinner could be rebooted, The Stand could be rebooted, bring back Rose Red, make it a full-on movie instead of a made-for-TV miniseries. Langoliers, please, dear God, reboot that. Like, there's so many Stephen King ones that I think are prime for it because they are kind of dated. No matter how great they originally were, the original Pet Sematary was phenomenal.
Right.
But it's
well,
dated.
I mean, they're rebooting everything else, whether or not it's dated. Like, let's just go for broke. They don't make original stuff anymore. They're just rebooting now.
Right, and you know this from working with me on Breaking the Fourth Wall. I'm usually against the reboots. I usually am like, no, right. I don't need it told again. I don't need it a third time or a second time or whatever. But when it comes to horror movies, especially something like a Stephen King movie, if you can give me an updated Christine or an updated Cujo that's going to have me wetting my fucking pants at 42 years old, yes, please.
Right? If you make me wet, you win.
If you give me an even creepier performance than Sissy Spacek gave in fucking Carrie, do it. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
If you can give me a Dakota Fanning style creepy girl starting fires in Firestarter, do it. Yeah. Because all day Stephen King movies, reboot them, give them new life, and make them closer to the books.
I'm all about movies being close to the books, but that I am slightly invested in that idea. It's got some personal bias on that one.
Well, that's one of the reasons I'm excited. It's not really a horror movie, but I'm excited for the new reboot of Dune. Like, the original 84 Dune, like, you know, obviously a cult classic film, but it had nothing to do with the book. Like, only the characters were the only things that came from the book. Everything else was just a mess.
The sci-fi miniseries was okay.
I liked it.
It was better than I liked it. I was playing it cool. Yeah. I liked it.
Now, Children of Dune, but the Dune miniseries, yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Was good.
It actually, you know, made sense if you read the books, or if you didn't read the books. It was, I don't know, a cohesive storyline.
Right.
Like the movie where you're just like, why is there a space turd flying the ship?
or the navigators with when they talk and all you're seeing is this flexing butthole.
I know.
What?
Oh yeah,
no.
It looked like a flexing mix between a butthole and a vagina that's supposed to be this thing's mouth that is not matching the words that are supposedly coming out of this thing. And like, you know, if Jim Henson's workshop goes wrong, this is what that creature was.
Oh, it's so bad.
You know,
so
and
bad.
I love Patrick Stewart. I love Patrick Stewart all day, but Captain Picard as Gurney Halleck. No.
I know. You're watching Star Trek: The Next Generation, and then you see that, and you're like, nope. Nope. Erase.
Do you think fucking Patrick Stewart sits there at home and he's like, I've been, you know, Professor X, I've done Ahab in Moby Dick, tons
Scrooge.
of theater.
He's
I've done
Scrooge.
I've done Captain Picard. I've done all these great iconic things. Oh shit, I did that
I've
too.
been knighted.
Shit, I've done that too.
I feel like he's listing it, and then he goes, and I play Gurney Halleck.
Yeah.
That's Gurney Halleck I'm doing.
God damn it, I did that too. So, I mean, the long and the short of it is really like, what movies would you want to see redone? It doesn't have to be horror. The horror was because, you know, we were talking about like it being a better movie than the original, which, you know, of course, because it's made for theater instead of TV.
Right.
You know, but we were also talking about Mark Hamill as Chucky, so horror made sense. But we could talk about any movie reboot that you think would either have been better than the original movie or would be better than the original movie.
Oh, yeah. There's some that I'm like, don't ever touch them. But, yeah, I could see. I love Neverending Story, but I would love to see what they could do with it with the special effects that we have now. And I would actually like to see them do what the whole book was.
Well, the question is, though, with the Neverending Story, like, I'm with you, like, updated special effects, CGI, that'd be great. But would you want a reboot, or would you want like a special edition? And the reason I ask that is because I think part of the charm of the Neverending Story is the fact that it is so 80s.
Yeah. Probably if they did anything, I would want a reboot. Like if they were gonna do it, just reboot it. It wouldn't be the same, but if they did it really well, I might appreciate it for different reasons.
Right. I just can't picture Sebastian hiding up in the attic of the school reading the Neverending Story on an iPad.
No, I don't want it updated. I want him to still have a book.
How long ago was Tombstone done? That was like really old, eh?
Tombstone with Kurt Russell and
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer?
Yeah, I used to love those like old school movies, like when I was like super young.
Old school
And watch.
I don't know. I'm like, I feel really old right now.
Well, there are
killing
old
me.
school movies, but I mean, like they're like legendary movies. Like
Yeah.
that one would be like a good one.
That'd be interesting, but
What else?
I couldn't imagine anybody replacing Val Kilmer's performance as Doc Holliday.
It's pretty impressive. I mean, like, the thing is, though, there have been other movies made about those characters.
And they were nowhere near as good as Tombstone.
True.
Exactly. Like Tombstone needs it needs like an upgrade, like for today's age and time.
Okay, these movies are not that old, but, The Hobbit. Please redo that.
Yeah, Peter
Yeah,
Jackson,
you know what? I didn't even make it through the whole movie of that because I'm just like, this is not going anywhere.
Well, he
It's
tried
really
to
not-
turn what was supposed to be a kid's story into Lord of the Rings, and I'm like, yeah, but that's not what it is.
Look, two things happened to that movie that trilogy that didn't need to happen. One, that he made it a trilogy. It was a single book. Make it a single movie.
Right.
And two, as much as The Hobbit may have originally been for kids and The Lord of the Rings was a little bit, more adultish, you could have done it a little more adultish. And a little. The problem is you tried to have the special effects and the grandiose of your Lord of the Rings trilogy, but then you have that fat Goblin King singing like he's in All Dogs Go to Heaven.
The problem was he didn't know what movie he was trying to make.
And that's what's so disappointing. After the success of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, probably I would put it in par with, not above, but in par with the original trilogy of Star Wars, and in par with things like Gone with the Wind, or God, I hate Gone.
Like the original trilogy, or the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah, I would put it in par with that, or I'm gonna throw up in my mouth a little bit here, but Titanic, just cinematic achievements.
Right.
And you
I
go
was
from
thinking of that one,
and
but that one, like, it's still modern enough that like my daughter is still a fan of it, like at 9 years old, and she's like got this huge Leonardo DiCaprio crush. But it maybe not yet. Maybe when she's like an adult, then reboot it.
No, I totally disagree with you. Reboot the shit out of that movie just to get rid of Leo DiCaprio. Fuck that guy.
I honestly don't like him either.
I feeling you don't like him that much.
Are you kidding? I'm the only
was
person.
so subtle.
I'm the only person that stood up in the theater when he died and applauded. Not a dry eye in the house, and I stood up and applauded when he died. I can't stand
I was just
him.
really disappointed that with like all the great actual stories from the actual event, they made something up. I'm like, but there's all these amazing stories from that of like real heroism and sacrifice, and okay, rich girl gets her rocks off with poor guy. Okay.
Like,
And
right?
then she hogs the door and just lets him die. I'll never let go, Jack, until now.
And you're talking about the guy who directed the second Alien movie. You're talking about the guy who did the second Terminator movie. The guy who did The Abyss. He's the one that brought this shit to screen.
I mean, it was
Silence.
cinematically beautiful. Titanic was cinematically beautiful, but the story was a little
No, absolutely. Reboot the shit out of Titanic. Or don't.
Not yet.
Or
not yet.
don't.
Seriously.
Just pretend it don't exist to make it go away. That works too.
Oh, so here's one that should not be rebooted. Is a Grease movie should not be rebooted because that second one they made just killed the first one.
I don't like Grease.
You know what? I still don't get how shit like Step It Up still exists. First off, how did they make 50 of these goddamn movies to begin with? It's the same story over and over again. And now they're coming out with a goddamn TV series.
Oh god, that's how I feel about the Fast and the Furious movies. I'm like, why?
Yeah, I'm right there. You know what? I'm
That's
sad.
it.
I'm sad Paul Walker died, but at the same time, the only thing he's known for is the shittiest movie franchise in history.
That won't die. Like, he died, the movie franchise kept going.
It got renewed because of his death.
Yeah, they
You know,
killed
and
him.
I'm
just
sorry
to
he
do it.
died, and it would have been nice to have seen what he could have done with his career had he not died. But I feel like he would have moved past the Fast and the Furious.
Right, it would have been nice to see him in a movie I actually liked. Because when people are like, oh, it's so sad that he died and blah, 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 and I'm like, yeah, but he sucked as an actor because Fast and Furious. I feel like an asshole, but I don't have anything else to compare him to. And I'm sorry, his performances were weak in Fast and Furious. Not that anything was Oscar-worthy to begin with. You know, the only
Somebody inflicted one of those movies on me, and I never again. And I say inflicted because it felt like it was being inflicted on me.
That's how I felt when I got forced to watch Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Like the original Fast and Furious movies were bad enough, but Tokyo Drift was literally eye rape. I still feel dirty. I need an Obama doll to show where that movie touched me.
Oh my God.
It's absolutely horrible. But guys, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Guys, we're going to be back in a few minutes while we get the commercials out of the way. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more and just we'll dive into some Comic-Con news firsthand from Christen. And, of course, we're going to talk about Kristen's new upcoming book. We'll see if we can get the ending out of her. Right after these few messages, guys.
Why didn't the Three Little Pigs go in for some kind of flat share scheme?
Does Jesus get to choose which wine he turns it into?
Why don't Sims have the upper body strength to climb out of a swimming pool?
And does everybody really want to be a cat?
I'm Will Baker.
And I'm Alex Prescott.
And if you're the type of person that overthinks these deep philosophical questions, then Think to the Brink is the podcast for you.
From Disney characters to song lyrics, debates to social etiquette, tune in every week for your dose of paralysis by analysis.
All topic suggestions are welcome. If you can think it, we can overthink it. Think to the Brink. Available on all podcast platforms.
Hey everyone, this is John Tolley, inviting you to check out War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. Each week, me and my co-host Christopher Stolley discuss the news and theories surrounding one of the largest movie franchises in the world. So join us every Wednesday at 8 Eastern as we travel to the galaxy far, far away, right here on Anchor FM and wherever fine podcasts are heard.
You know, when you need CBD, vape juice, or a new mod, go to Vape Scorpion. 10859 Boston Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19116. They are formerly known as East Coast Vapor. They have all your needs, all the equipment, all the juice. And hey, while you're there, sit down, enjoy a beer on your own, and just hang out with a bunch of cool people. Guys, if you really need your next vape machine, or maybe you just want to try locally made juice, make sure you hit up Vape Scorpion. That's 1085 Boston Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19116. Or give a call to 215-464-8273. Oh yeah, and make sure you let them know that Realm of the Mist Entertainment sent you.
He said, but she said, how dare you say that? That's offensive. Well, someone's gotta say it. It had to be said with Venus. Catch the live show Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Check out the recordings at any time. Guest shows weekly. Listener, beware. Mature content, sexual content, trigger warning. Do you dare say it?
Hi, my name's Chris. I'm here to you about Realm of the Mist podcast. Realm of the Mist podcast, we talk about all the great entertainment things from movies, music, books, comic books, and many, many other forms of entertainment, as well as politics, current events, just general humor and having a good time. If you're looking for a podcast that is right up your alley, look no further than Realm of the Mist podcast here on Anchor.fm or where fine podcasts can be heard.
Hi, this is Dave from the Comic Collection at 83 Bustleton Pike in Feasterville, Pennsylvania. Our phone number is 215-357-3332. We are right next to Northeast Philadelphia. We have action figures, gaming, statues, albums, and CDs, graphic novels, other knickknacks, and, of course, comics. Established in 1985, we are your go-to store. Come by and say hello, and say that the guys from Radiocast FM Radio sent you. The address again is 83 Bustleton Pike, Feasterville, Pennsylvania, or call 215-357-3332.
Three-eyed turtle? Is that all right?
What the fuck is a three-eyed turtle?
Wants a mustache ride.
Are you tired of the same old podcasts with no humor? Well, join us for After Hours, where everything is funny, at least to us, on Anchor.fm, and where quality podcasts are heard.
How the fuck did we get on this?
I don't know.
Fucking FCC started this shit. It's their fucking fault.
Hey everyone, this is Dak.
This is Liam.
And this is White People Shit.
We are a bi-weekly podcast.
Whoa. Maybe you're bi-week. I'm straight and strong.
It means twice a week, you douche.
Oh. Yeah, listen to us twice a week. On White People Wednesdays, we talk about gay stuff, zombies, superhero sex positions.
And on Featured Peep Fridays, we interview the Featured Peep of the Week.
Yeah, like a fuck.
Just search WPS Podcast and look for the white dude in red pajamas.
We're on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere else you get your podcasts.
We believe in equal opportunity humor, where all things can be made fun of. So if your feelings get hurt and you're offended, you can always
eat a dick.
And we're back, guys. Chris with Venus and Christen. We're still sitting here talking about ugly crying. It's amazing what you miss. That's why you listen to After Hours. That's why you get the stuff that you don't usually get in the normal podcasts. All right, guys. This one I'll knock out real quick, and it'll get us into the conversation I know Christen is looking forward to. Video gamers, get excited. Borderlands 3 has been announced.
What's that noise in the background?
I don't know. I was wondering too. I was like, did someone step on a duck?
I didn't even hear it. Maybe it was my chair.
I think it was your chair.
Yeah, Borderlands 3 has been announced. This is a series that a lot of people seem to be into. It's a first-person shooter, kind of RPG-ish. Very, very interesting graphic design. No real details to it, just a teaser trailer. More to come in the upcoming cons for video games. Ladies, do either of you play Borderlands, and how does this news mean to you?
I don't play Borderlands, but I'm looking to see if Troy Baker voices anybody in Borderlands. Because he's my favorite voice actor, in which case, kudos, Troy. I'm happy for you, dude.
Right on. Well, again, more information was promised in the teaser trailer in the upcoming cons like E3 and stuff of that nature, which leads us to, let's talk about some cons.
Comic-Con!
We are in that season where Comic-Cons are happening everywhere, going to be popping up in your cities. I know we have one that shows up here in Philly at the convention center. I don't know when it's coming, but I know it's coming this year. It comes every year.
You have more than one up there. I was up there last year at Keystone Comic-Con.
And you didn't come to say hi.
Nope. I was with friends, and it was a really quick trip.
Oh, I'm extra hurt on that. I was with friends. Fuck you guys.
I think I did say I was going to Philadelphia.
And I think I told you to make a stop by. But no, this year you've already pictures are posted up on your personal website. Or Facebook page of you going to a Comic-Con. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody not only what you cosplayed as, but where you went and what you saw.
All right. Well, I spent this weekend at Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City, which is the biggest con in this part of the country. It was amazing. It was so cool. I cosplayed as Killer Frost because the actress who plays her in the Flash series, Danielle Pennebaker, was there. And I got to meet her. And she was like, oh my God, you look terrific. And I was just like, yes. I mean, I played it cool when I was talking to her, but inside I was fangirling. I love her character because her character is a widow too in the series. And so it's always really fun for me to see that. And like, because yes, there are widows in TV and movies, but they're always in dramas and like chick flicks, and I don't like watching those. So it's nice to see that in a superhero show. Also, I handed her a copy of my book because why not? But it was amazing. A lot of really amazing cosplayers, a lot of cool celebrities. William Shatner was there. I did not get to talk to him. Carrie Elwes from The Princess Bride was there, and I was gonna go see him, but his line was really huge, and they had to cut it off because he had a panel to go to. So I missed Wesley from The Princess Bride, which was just heartbreaking.
Wow,
So,
all I heard was it was really huge, and they had to cut it off. My mind went the complete wrong way. I was about to say, Carrie Ellis, good on you, until I heard cut it off, and I'm like, oh God, dude. I
mean, if you have a crush on him, who can blame you?
You know what? But would it be The Princess Bride, or would it be Robin Hood Men in Tights?
Both are awesome.
Both are
love
awesome.
both of them.
Yes.
But The Princess Bride, like, I grew up with that, and there is a Princess Bride quote for like every situation in life. It's not a time it's inappropriate ever.
Well, that kind of leads back to what we were talking about before. Would you want to reboot it, A Princess Bride?
No.
I was going to say no just because of Andre the Giant, but I mean
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of it too, but like, to me, that one is sacred. Like, you don't touch The Princess Bride. You leave it alone. Don't touch it.
The no touchy rule.
Unless you're Deadpool and you get Fred Savage tied to a bed. Then it's okay.
My brain is trying to wrap itself around that.
Yeah, I'm like, no.
The advertisement.
Deadpool needs boundaries, and here's one.
He's already done it. It was in the advertisement for the Once Upon a Deadpool, the PG-13 release of Deadpool 2. He actually had grown Fred Savage back in the bedroom from The Princess Bride, and he's reading him the story of Deadpool 2. And Fred's like, I'm not doing this. And he's like, you kind of have no choice. He pulls the covers back, and he's got Fred Savage duct taped to the bed.
I mean, I appreciate the joke. It was really, really crowded, though. Apparently they had like record-breaking numbers, and it was really unseasonably cold outside where we had to wait. And I decided I was going to do the tiny dress version of Killer Frost.
Of course.
So I was cold. And it kind of takes you out of character when you're supposed to have like ice powers and not get cold, and you're sitting there shaking. But they were awesome. They were like handing out Red Bulls and stuff to people waiting outside, and the staff was all really helpful. Best food selection I've ever seen at a Comic-Con. It was crazy. I was like, there's so much food.
Did they have panels, and did you get to go to any?
They did have panels. I didn't get to go to any because the people I was with, we were trying to fit everything into one day, and so it was kind of like we had to sort of trade off and go to what everybody wanted to go to, take turns seeing our favorite things. But we got to see a lot of the artists, and I really like going to sort of the smaller comic book people and the ones that aren't like Marvel or DC, and just seeing what they're doing. So that was really cool. I had a couple of friends who were working the con, so got to kind of talk to the minions. Saw someone throw up while I was waiting in line to meet Daniel Pennebaker. That was gross.
They were excited too.
They were really excited. But it was fun. I always love to go to see all the cosplayers because that was amazing. I cannot imagine the amount of money some of these people spend.
Any blow your mind costumes and cosplays that you come across?
So many. So many. There was a Dr. Octopus that was amazing. God, there were so many. There were so many good costumes. It's hard to even pick any like one out because there were just everywhere you turned. There was an amazing costume. Of course, some awesome Star Wars cosplays. There are always some awesome ones. I was really excited to see a Cloud City Princess Leia because you don't see that one very often.
Oh, wow.
And that's one of my favorite, one of her looks is Cloud City. I think it's really cool. So I really was excited about that. There were a couple of other Killer Frosts. They didn't have special effects like I did, though, so.
Well, those ice things in your hand, did they light up? I couldn't really tell from the pictures.
So the ice, the body of it was made of something called Warbler, which is a heat-activated plastic, and then you can manipulate it and shape it. And then I had LED lights down in it. And for some reason in the pictures, the lights looked purple, but they were blue, like absolutely blue. So that was really fun. They were made in Philadelphia and sent to me. So it was a lot of fun. My friend did a really good Poison Ivy. She got stopped a lot. I saw lots and lots of Waldos, which delighted me to no end. I was constantly finding Waldo. It was like living, and it was so crowded. It was just like walking around in a Where's Waldo book all day. It was amazing. Girl Waldos, boy Waldos, little kid Waldos, Waldos everywhere.
See, I would have been impressed with all the Waldos you found Carmen Sandiego.
There was Carmen Sandiego. I was about to say that. We also found Carmen Sandiego. And the best part was at one point, there was a Waldo next to a Carmen Sandiego.
Oh,
and I about lost my mind.
Well,
nice.
That's going to lead me to one that I'll get you guys' opinion on here in a minute here. But first, because I don't want to get off the cons just yet, but you led me to something that I saw that really disturbed me. I didn't put it in the show notes, but you kind of reminded me of it, and now I need therapy. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and say it now before we get back into the con things. Did you guys see that they're making a live-action Dora the Explorer movie?
I've heard of it. I've tried not to see any of that.
Oh my God!
I don't want to see it either.
I watched the trailer, and as if the Hannah Montana movie wasn't bad enough. Like these types of movies make AOC. They do. They make movies movies like this create people like AOC.
Oh God.
It is that. I'm seriously. If you want to see how bad this is, go look up that trailer, and you'll understand why I need therapy afterwards. It's just horrible.
I've had the option to click on it and see it, like going through my Facebook timeline, and I was just like, there's no fucking way in hell. Like, my kids are past this stage. My one that's going to be born won't even know about this stage, and we could just skip it altogether.
I would rather...
Just make sure the kid never sees it.
Let me put it this way. I would rather sit through a weekend marathon of fucking Teletubbies and Barney the Dinosaur than ever watch that 30-second trailer again.
Is it really that bad?
Oh, my... watch it. Watch it, and in fact, that's your homework. That's how we'll start. It had to be said.
I'll take your word for it. I'm just taking your word for
it. Watch it tonight, and I'll ask you at first thing on it's had to be said tomorrow. So that you watch the video and just get your reaction. Okay.
Wow.
Sorry. Back to the cons.
Talk about
I had to
nightmares.
mention that. Yeah. I would rather watch a Terminator movie starring the Furby.
I really think probably that Furbies are where Terminator begins.
Furby
they can
is
all
Skynet.
started with a Furby.
Furby with Skynet.
Yeah.
Oh man. So anyway, Comic-Cons. Venus. I know there's some up in Canada. Have you gone to a con?
No.
No? It's not something you would do?
I have not. No, it's just I've never got around to it. I've like always been working my entire life or like something. And it's like if I get a vacation, like I'm going on a road trip, like to like visit a beach or like, you know, go see friends on the lake or something and like cabin camping. I'm like so like by the way I talk and stuff, it's probably misleading, but I'm probably one of the most antisocial people ever. So I don't go to bars. I don't go to any of those places where there's like lots of people or like anything. If I go shopping, it's like, wow, you know, I used to get in the mind track where it'd be like, okay, this is what I need. This is what I get in, get off, get the fuck out. But
see, I'm that way too, but if I put on a costume, it's like a shield.
So,
they're not seeing me, they're seeing the character.
So I'm learning that if I figured out a way of getting Realm of the Mist Entertainment a panel at a Comic-Con where we're performing live, I could pretty much count both of you out.
I would do it. Here's the thing, because of the books, I do have to have like that public aspect of myself, and I do theater, so I've learned how to kind of, you know, like put that persona out there. I know how to do it. I'll just be completely exhausted by the end of it. You know? But the great thing about Comic-Cons, though, is that a lot of the people there are actually the same way, because it's really just a bunch of geeks and nerds who love, well, and I mean that affectionately, because I am a geek and a nerd, and my readers are geeks and nerds, and I love them dearly. So, but like, I've never had a bad experience where somebody was mean to me at a con. Like, everybody's just really nice, and they'll compliment each other's costumes, and you know, you're all just there because you love the same stuff, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've heard like stories of afterwards, and it's like, yeah, I got the fuck Sailor Moon, and I'm like, oh my god, you go there to pick up chicks?
Yeah, I didn't run into that, and I went to the after party.
Have you seen some? Have you ever watched videos of some of the cosplayers? Like, there are many slave Leias walking around that I'm surprised they don't get like fondled in some way, shape, or form. You know?
I've heard that it does. I've heard from some cosplayers that they've had issues, like some of the professional ones that go and everything. But I myself, as a visitor, as a guest, have never had a problem. And I know that there is actually stuff set up, if you like a place where you can go if something has happened. And usually the staff is also really, really good about stepping up and taking care of you. I know that, like, because of my visual disability, if I tell them, hey, I need a little help, they usually, you know, will take care of it and help me. I mean, a lot of times, because they don't want to deal with me in the lines, they just go, here, I'm going to fast pass you up to the front. I don't mind it, because I got to meet Billy Boyd once, and that was amazing. Favorite Hobbit ever.
So, yeah, I mean,
I also gave him a book.
Did he ever get back to you about what he thought of it?
No, but I didn't expect him to. I was just like, maybe one day Peter Jackson will visit him, and Peter Jackson will be like, ooh, this looks interesting. Ooh, this would be a good movie.
Well, Venus, with your permission here, let's go ahead. That's a good segue into let's talk about what Christen's been doing with herself. Why she's been absent from Realm of the Mist Entertainment for so long. Guys, she was writing her third book of her Song of Souls trilogy. For those that have listened to our podcast back when it was Breaking the Fourth Wall, you guys know that Christen is an author who has written 2 books of her trilogy thus far, and the third one has just finished getting written.
It's in the editing right now.
It's in editing right now, so it's coming close to publish time. So
August.
So, Venus, I know you haven't read any of the books yet.
No, I just heard about them, actually.
That's okay.
So,
sorry.
Christen, the floor is yours. Why don't you tell Venus and our listeners, especially the new listeners, what the trilogy is about?
Okay. Well, for those who are new listeners and those who've forgotten, because it's been like 800 years since I was on a show, I am a young widow. I was widowed a year and a half after I was married, and I used to write before that, but just sort of for fun. And as I was kind of going through the healing process and everything, I had an idea and kind of ran with it. It's high fantasy. The first book is called Soulbound, and it deals with this young woman who's widowed, who then has a bond with the soul of her deceased husband, and she can see him and talk to him and everything. And it gives her the ability to have, like, she can do some kinds of magical healing. And I really am better at writing than I am describing it, just for the record. So forces her to leave her little quiet village and go into the wider world, where she encounters wizards and a prince and gets sent on this epic journey, and kind of discovers that there are some other things going on in the world than she realized. Kind of gets swept up in some big events. So, and I don't want to give too much away. That's the difficult part with the trilogy, because you can only go so far.
Right. No spoilers. No spoilers for people that are going to read the book. And we'll make sure that at the end, Christen will tell you where you can get the book, ways to either through her, through, I believe it's on Amazon. Of course, it's on Kindle. You can download them on Kindle. So. And
there will be hardbound copies coming of the first 2 books coming out shortly before the 3rd book comes out. And there's now a map of the world. So.
Well, there you go.
Drawn by me.
So, finishing the trilogy, it's got to be bittersweet.
Yeah. It's 5 years of my life. It's kind of new chapter. There was crying. At the end of it, there was some crying. I kind of just stopped, and it was just quiet. The characters were just quiet. Everything was kind of done, because it's not like I'm schizophrenic and actually hear them talking, but you have their sort of narrative in your head, and when it was finished, it was just quiet, and they were not there. They kind of started going, hey, I have some ideas, but I'm like, shut up.
Well, that was,
I get a break.
that was something I was going to ask. Is do you think that's the end of the story of the characters? Like, again, without giving anything away, because I don't know how the trilogy ends.
Right.
But do you think your Lord of the Rings will have a Hobbit or?
There is going to be, actually, it's not a prequel so much as how the royalty that's in it's kind of how the prince's family came to the throne, how Kieran's family came to the throne, because he's actually, that dynasty has only actually been there since his great-grandfather. I can't talk. I know all this expanded stuff now that's sort of developed through the course of everything. So there'll be that story that takes place before. And then I do have some spin-off ideas. And there is one main character who might get their own story at some point in the future. But I can't say who it is or whether it's a girl or a boy, because it would give some stuff away.
All right, and the other question, and then I'll turn it over to Venus, because I'm sure she's got plenty of questions as a person who first time hearing about this and all. What's next? Is it going to be something that ties into the Song of Souls in some way, whether it's a prequel, spin-off, whatever, or do you think the next project will be something completely new and original?
I think there's going to be something that's completely new, but I'm not 100% sure, because it may or may not be with somebody else. The one thing that I'm definite about doing is the prequel, and then I'm still sort of developing a spin-off story that has some ties in with this trilogy, and will probably have some cameos of familiar characters, but it is its own story. And it may or may not end up being a trilogy. It kind of depends on how much material I come up with for it. I thought the first trilogy was going to be 1 book, and then it turned into 2. And then I'm like, well, I'm going to do 2. I may as well do 3, because that just sounds better. And then after the second one, I was like, why did I decide to do this? Because there's no going back now.
Well, that's it. Once you start, I don't know. I mean, as a person who was, haphazardly working on a book for an old friend of ours, Dan Laria, who
oh yeah,
that story's still sitting on my computer. I haven't gone back to it in quite a long time. I'm at that point where I could walk away from it and nobody be any the wiser, except for the people that listen to the podcast and know that I was supposed to write one. Pretty much your point of no return was when book 1 was published, right?
Pretty much, but I tried to give book 1 enough closure that I wouldn't, if I didn't, I left myself a little bit of wiggle room, even though I knew I would keep going. But I've had readers say that it would have been okay if it had just ended there. I had left a few little things. So really, I feel like the point of no return for me was the second book.
Did you, as a person who hasn't read the second book yet, I read the first book, you know that, because I gave you a review. You were so worried about it. You were so worried.
I mean, I knew you were going to be nice. I also know that you're ornery.
Well, it's not ornery. I prefer the term honest. I won't spare your feelings if I feel justified in the fact that your feelings don't need to be spared.
Well, and I wasn't 100% sure if it was your type of book. I didn't know for sure.
Well, if I remember my review correctly, I did state that it wasn't really targeted towards somebody like me.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and I was very honest about the some of the negative criticism that I had towards the book could be attested to the fact that it was more towards female audiences. I mean, anybody can read this, and I still stand by that, but it is really more targeted towards the female audience.
Which is fun. I actually have a lot of male readers, though.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Anybody could just, if you're looking for the male lead that you could connect to, you may be a little put off or forlorn about it. But if that's not something that matters to you in a book, then this is absolutely a great story. And I told you it was a great story. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And
there are male leads in there, and I think really too, like, since you've only read the first book, like the main character, the main hero is a woman, but there's really kind of an ensemble element to it, because Kieran definitely is a main character, and so is her soulmate. They're both main characters, and they're both heroes in their own way. And I was also really, really adamant about, I want this character to be a strong female lead, but not at the expense of the males. Like, in my opinion, it is not complimentary, and it does not make a female character strong if her male counterparts are bumbling idiots. Like, that's just, oh, okay, well, you're the smartest idiot out of the idiots. I was very, very adamant that the men had to be fleshed out characters. They had to be intelligent. They had to have integrity. And she wasn't always going to save them. Sometimes they got to save her. Like, they save each other because that's how real life is. You're not always the person saving somebody. Sometimes you need saved.
No, it's absolutely true.
And it doesn't make you weak.
I like her.
That is absolutely true. Well, Venus, now you've sat quiet for longer than you ever have on Realm of the Mist. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, because I know you've got some questions you probably want to shoot towards Christen and kind of delve more into this the world of the Song of Soul. So go ahead.
Actually, not even. I'm just more kind of like, well, like, can I get a copy?
Yes,
can I get the first one free and then, blog about it or something and give you a review?
I mean, actually, I have been known to do that.
Well, we'll
I read it and then I can go off of it.
Yeah. I mean, I've done that before. They're review copies. Because I can write them off as business expenses.
Not for me, though. I gave a goddamn review, and I paid for it.
You did, but you offered to pay for it.
I did offer to pay for it. I did.
Also, at the time, there was like a big group of people all saying, well, I'll read the book. And I was like, that's a lot of free books.
Well, with the debut of the third one coming out, and I've never heard of your book. I'm sure a lot of people haven't.
Yeah, because it's, I'm a fairly new author, so.
Yeah, so.
It is
I don't know.
available
You can send me a copy. I'll send you my address after.
Works for me.
It is available in like a Barnes & Noble bookstore, correct?
Yeah, they'll order it for you through Barnes & Noble. And then with the hardback editions coming out, I think the distribution will be expanding because I'm going to be going with another company to do the hardback editions.
Okay.
So they'll be able to expand the distribution. So I just have to get my butt in gear and actually put the hardbound stuff together. I wrote like the third book, the end of it. My brother was getting married in the middle of it. I started watching my 3-year-old nephew in the mornings, and I got really, really, really sick for like the last week and a half of writing, and I was doing online events. So it's just like, by the end of all of that, I was really exhausted. So last week was my week off, and this weekend was my reward. And now I'm like, okay, it's Monday. I have to get back to doing work. And then today I didn't do the things about the book that I was supposed to do, but it's okay.
Yeah, that Barnes and Whatever bookstore, like, I don't even think we have that in Canada. Like, is there, like, besides, like, online, like, is there other places to buy it?
I'm not sure what the stores are in Canada that will order it. I know that you can order it, from Amazon, and you can get copies directly from me.
Why don't you go ahead and give that the where people can contact if they want to get it directly from you? Which, by the way, getting directly from her is how you get an autographed copy.
You did get that.
Yes, I did get that. Well, if I'm paying for it.
Yeah. If you want to order it directly from me, and I do that on a sort of limited basis right now just because I have to do all of the shipping and all of the getting it to and from because I don't have staff to do that for me right now. Because, you have to become J.K. Rowling or George R.R. Martin for that to be a thing. But you can go to the Song of Souls Trilogy Facebook page, and if you just look up the Song of Souls Trilogy on Facebook, it will be there. You can send a message through there and get in touch with me and work out whether or not you want a signed copy. And then if you want to just go the easy route, you can get it on Amazon. And it's sold all over the world through Amazon. And it's also on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's there. The first and second are there. The third will be, but I don't put it on Kindle Unlimited right away. It will be available on Kindle to purchase, but Kindle Unlimited is a little bit different. Like, it's basically Netflix for books.
Right.
So you have to wait a little while, just like you have to wait a little while for movies on Netflix. You have to wait a little while for the third book to be on Unlimited. And the third book will have a map.
Well, see, guys, we at Realm of the Mist podcast, we're helping you out. We're giving you something to read while you're sitting by the poolside as summer's coming up. They will be released by then, right?
But they're really good. August 15th is the date.
Oh, okay. It's kind of the end of end of summer, but still, you could still get that book.
August 15th would have been my dad's birthday, so that's when I decided to release the third book.
That's very fitting.
In honor of my dad.
That's very fitting.
Aww.
Thank you. Because he didn't get to read any of them. He passed away before I wrote any of them.
You know damn right well he read them all.
Yes, he did.
He already knows how it ends.
He does. A few people do. There are a select few people who have read the unedited version. So there are a few out there.
We are not one of those few, so don't ask us.
No, there's very few people I will subject to my unedited writing. A lot of it, I went back through it and I'm like, how did anybody understand what I meant right here?
Did Brian ever get his copy of the book? I know he was supposed to order it.
He never did. If he ordered it, he didn't order it from me.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm hoping he comes to Smallville Comic-Con.
Well, I know
because then we're gonna meet face to face.
Well, I know he's been busy with a lot of stuff. He's supposed to be on the show tonight, but unfortunately, some family issues and all has kept him away the past couple weeks. But he's part of the reason why I haven't read your second book yet. Like I know it's kind of like it's his fault and it's her fault, but besides the fact it's on my girl's Kindle and I have to wait till she's not using the Kindle to be able to read it. But it's also like I've been helping out with Star Wars Canon podcasts for so long that I've had to keep up on the goddamn canon books.
Yeah.
Which wow. such a hard chore to read Star Wars. God.
I know. I'm sure you're just like really upset about it.
Yeah, it's torture. But I mean, well, some of the books are.
Speaking of Star Wars, when are we gonna have a chiss in one of the Star Wars movies?
I think it's coming, and it's coming sooner than you think.
I love the chiss. I want them all. All of the people should be chiss. Every one of them.
Well, when are we going to get an alien lead?
Right. I mean, I guess technically they're all aliens because they aren't on Earth, but, I know what you mean.
Non-human lead.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're from different planets and not from Earth, they're still human.
Yeah.
You know,
That we know of.
as far as we know, they're classified as human.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I mean, non-human lead. Why not a Twi'lek or a Zabrat or a Chiss, as you said? You know, give me a Hutt. Give me a Jedi Hutt. I want to see a big blubbering slug dancing
amazing thing.
I want a big blubbering Hutt dancing around like Yoda in Episode 2 when he was like fighting Count Dooku.
He would use the pinwheel of death.
Could you imagine that? Ugh. That's a lot of fat flying.
Oh. This is right. Just not right.
Just put it back.
Why did you go there?
It's like watching the day shift at a strip club.
And now I'm just picturing a stripper hut. No.
Now we've gone back into your territory, right, Venus? So we're talking about strippers, but adding Star Wars to it.
I know. I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, I want no part of this.
It's too late. Join the dark side.
We have cookies.
We have cookies and strippers with cookies.
Yeah, but the strippers are Hutts, so you know.
Don't steal my cookies.
Jabba wearing Leia's fucking metal bikini.
You know, I can actually picture that in my head, like right now. Like that was.
I know, it's a little alarming how easy it is to picture that, isn't it?
It's not even disturbing whatsoever. It's like, yeah, you know, I can work with that.
That's all right.
I know, that's the weirdest thing. You're like, it's strangely fitting.
Yet at the same time, I have the late Carrie Fisher's voice in my head. Are you calling me fat? You're saying that fucking blob could fit into my bikini?
And she would be, I feel like she would just be rolling with this conversation.
She really would.
She would just be right on board with it.
She really would. And if anybody ever questions that, I defy you to go back and watch the video of her inducting George Lucas into the AFI Lifetime Achievement Award. That speech was golden. Anytime I miss Carrie Fisher, I watch that speech.
Yeah. She had a great sense of humor about that costume.
She had a great sense of humor about everything.
Yeah, she really did. I remember seeing like a making of the Return of the Jedi, and her like joking around with the giant Jabba puppet and everything. So
almighty, you know. So Venus, we're gonna start wrapping this up here. Venus, why don't you tell us what we're in store for tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night. On It Had to Be Said with Venus. We've got our guest host, Kara Alexander, who's going to join us. She got pissed off today about little girls bullying little girls, so that'll be one of the topics, and the rest I have no idea. I'm just waiting to get pissed off about something between now and tomorrow night. And it's bound to happen, too. Tuesdays are my best days, and I don't know, I find them pretty hormonal, too.
I had one really rude thing happen over the weekend. I went to the after party, and this guy was not working for the con. He was just working security for where the after party was. And I have to use a white cane when I'm outside and it's dark because I can't see the ground very well. And we go there, and he needs to check our IDs, and I've got my cane, and I open my purse, and I get my ID because, you know, I know where it is, and I give it to him, and he goes, "Is that cane for real?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and he goes, "Because you whipped that ID out pretty fast."
Oh.
I'm
some people's kids. Whoa, did I lose everybody? What the freak? Hold on, guys. I don't know how or why, but Skype just dropped the call. Give me a second. I'm going back into Skype. Damn it. We were right in the middle of a conversation.
You're supposed to reboot the thing.
I did reboot the thing. Join call. Join. Bear with us, guys. I'm getting the call back in, reconnected.
Nighttime and find anything because she knows exactly where. You know, yeah, I mean, like, you learn how to work with a disability and you make it like an ability that you could do it. It's pretty much like a superpower after you overcome the obstacles.
Yeah, and my cane whips out and like just like goes together because it folds, so I can just whip it out and goes. It really does that. It's the most amazing thing ever. I look like a superhero. Anyway, I'm sorry to sidetrack. Go back to what you were saying.
Okay. And you can find me on Facebook as Venus Chan or Solar Nova. Instagram as Venus Uncensored. You can even Skype me as Venus Uncensored. And I guess it's irrelevant right now, but to email me about any topics or anything about It Had to Be Said or whatnot, it's venusuncensored@gmail.com. And I should just write like a whole biography on that.
Well, you are.
I think I was supposed to do that.
Yes, you were.
I saw that, and I was like so busy and like sleeping, and I was on vacation, I think, when I saw it, and then I totally forgot about it because I slept for 2 days, and then I was like, oh yeah, writing my blog today. I'm like, that's right. I was supposed to do a fucking dating profile.
Not a dating profile, just a little insight into you as a blogger / podcaster. That's all.
That's what it sounds like. So include some of your interests, some of your hobbies. It's like, I like long walks on the beaches.
But
are you into cats or dogs?
But you know what? Now you almost make it enticing to make the bio page like swipe right or swipe left. The only reason I won't do it is I know everybody will be swiping no on me.
Oh my god, right? That's what I feel like. I'm like, oh god, it's like this is what has to be done. Like, oh my god, can it be any more like POF? Like, hi, I'm from wherever and blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh my god, like I can't even write a dating profile. You want me to do this? I was like, what? Not interested. Next, please.
Yeah, but you've been writing blogs like it's no problem. So.
Yeah, well, sometimes I just get pissed off about stuff.
Which speaking of, guys, her new blog is up as we speak. Make sure you go check that out. You can find it on Realm of the Mists group fan page or on Realm of the Mists page itself, as well as probably on Venus's personal profile pages and my own, or right on Realm of the Mists' official website. Link is in the description down below.
Yeah, and on my personal fan page, Realm of the Mist presents It Had to Be Said with Venus.
Yes, that one too.
I always forget
like that as well. There was like this long line of things, and I'm like, I can't remember which ones I've liked now.
I think you liked my page, yeah.
Okay, good.
You're a fan.
And of course, Christen, why don't you remind everybody where they can find you?
Well, they can find me on the Song of Souls Trilogy fan page. They can like it and message, and I'll usually get right back. I'm also on Facebook as Christen Stovall. I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Instagram. I will say that I have been getting a heavy influx of weird scammers liking me on Instagram and Facebook. I had a really interesting incident with someone posing as Richard Madden, trying to that was like, we'll have to get into that on another one. So if you do try to send me messages, just say in the message that you're doing it because you heard me here, and then I'll be like, okay, not crazy scammer person.
Unless it's one of us, in which case we are a crazy scanner person.
And then I'll be like, oh, God, why are they messaging me again?
It's like, once you pop, the fun don't stop.
Pop. Damn it, we're Pringles.
Or just a popcorn.
I'm most often on Facebook or Instagram. And that's where you can see my cosplay stuff and all of that. And lots of fun pictures from the after party at Comic-Con.
Family-rated fun pictures, not the good stuff.
Yeah, family-rated. All of my social media is pretty family-rated.
To see the family rated pictures, make sure you visit the Realm of the Mist official website, link in the description down below. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter under Christopher Stovall or Christopher Wild. Of course, you can find me anywhere Realm of the Mist Entertainment is on Realm of the Mist Podcast. It Had to Be Said with Venus, War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast, or After Hours. You can catch us on YouTube. Make sure you hit a like, comment, share, subscribe. We'd love to have you around. And, of course, go to anchor.fm/ROTM-entertain to catch all the audio podcasts. And while you're there, go ahead and hit that support icon. Every dollar helps. Also, visit Realm of the Mist Patreon. Again, every dollar helps. And if you don't want to do any of those, you can find us wherever quality podcasts are heard.
Yay!
Am I getting better at that outro?
You are. It's like applaud worthy.
It's applaud
I
worthy.
feel like it's like at the end of commercials for medications. You know, they list all of the things.
Oh my God! Can we get the Micro Machines commercial guy? Can we, or the dude that does it at the end of like the car commercials on a radio? The dealer's discretion.
Oh my God, an auctioneer voice, yeah.
Yes. Can we get that just runs it at the end?
Yes. Yes.
That's the homework, guys. Everybody listening, if you could do that, let me know. I will write you a script and record you for the ending of every episode on Realm of the Mist Entertainment.
Just like if they comment, draw from the comments, and whoever, like whichever name gets, then they get to do it.
But you have to actually be able to do it. I don't want like Gomer Pyle trying to do it, you know?
I don't know. That could be interesting.
You can find us. You can find us on, what's this word? Oh, like the letter. All right, guys.
It's making me laugh more than it should.
All right, guys. We'll catch you tomorrow night on It Had to Be Said. Thank you for joining us for Realm of the Mist podcast. And as always, have a good night.